All right, get ready, because today we're going deep, really deep into something truly fascinating. Um, we're talking about the human body, but not just like your regular anatomy lesson.
Well, not at all.
We're going way beyond that. We're going to be looking at the body through the lens of something called the law of one, which might just completely change how you think about your own physical form.
What's really captivating about the Law of One is this incredible way it blends spirituality and, well, for lack of a better term, science. It really makes you consider the body as this complex and intricate energy system. And once you start thinking about that, well, some really intriguing possibilities open up.
Intriguing possibilities, right. So to be clear for our listeners, the source material for this deep dive comes from these sessions with Ra. And Ra is described as this social memory complex, which
Hmm.
basically means like a collective consciousness, right?
Right, exactly.
And they claim to have interacted with all these ancient civilizations, offering wisdom about the universe and humanity's place within it. I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
And what I find so compelling is that this wisdom, this perspective, it's not just some abstract concept. It actually relates directly to our everyday experiences. Think about it. Have you ever felt completely stuck creatively? Like you just couldn't get into that flow state.
Uh,
Well, the law of one suggests that this could be because of an imbalance in one of your energy centers, or uh, what most people know as chakras.
Okay, now we're talking. So it's not just some mystical concept. It actually affects how we function in the
Okay.
real world.
Absolutely. Picture it this way. You have these 7 primary chakras, these swirling energy centers within your body. And Ra describes them as points where energy flows both in and out, starting with the blue ray center.
Hmm.
And each one of these centers plays a very specific role in how we experience and process the world around us.
So if one of these energy centers, one of these chakras gets blocked, that's when things start to feel off, like when you're creatively stifled or even when you're feeling physically unwell.
Exactly. That's precisely what the law of one suggests. And these blockages, they can manifest in all sorts of ways, from physical ailments to emotional turmoil. It's almost like having a kink in a hose.
A kink in a hose, yeah.
The energy just can't flow freely, and that can disrupt our well-being on multiple levels, really.
So I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, wait a minute, are you saying my thoughts and emotions can directly impact my physical health?
You're getting it.
I mean, this whole idea of the human energy system, as described by Rob, it might sound a bit radical at first,
It does to some, yeah.
but it also offers a really empowering perspective, doesn't it?
What's fascinating is that Roth even suggests that negative emotions, if we, hold on to them for too long, can actually contribute to things like disease. It's a powerful concept. It challenges us to become more aware of what's happening inside, in our inner landscape, and how that might be influencing our physical reality.
Wow. So it's almost like we have more control over our health than we've been led to believe. This idea that understanding these energy centers, these chakras, can actually be a key to self-healing and personal growth is pretty powerful stuff.
Absolutely. And that sense of empowerment is really central to the law of one. It's not about feeling helpless or
Yeah.
like we're victims of external forces. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything and the role that each of us plays in shaping our own reality.
And speaking of interconnectedness, there's this one concept from these Raw sessions that really jumped out at me, the idea of wanderers. These beings who choose to come to Earth from, higher densities to help humanity evolve. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild. What makes them choose to do that? I mean, that seems like a huge commitment.
Ross suggests that wanderers, they often feel this deep sense of mission, like a
Yeah.
calling to serve others. They might be drawn to helping heal the planet or assist in raising consciousness, things like that. It's almost like a soul contract, a choice made at a higher level of awareness.
Yeah, I can see that. But if they're coming from these, advanced realms, wouldn't they feel totally out of place here? Like they just don't belong?
That's a common experience for many wanderers. The sessions actually describe a forgetting process that they go through when they incarnate here. They lose the conscious memory of their origins, and this can lead to feelings of alienation or a longing for something more, something they can't quite put their finger on.
I bet.
They might even feel drawn to exploring spiritual teachings or, seek out other people who resonate with their unique perspective.
So think about it.
Yeah.
As you're listening to this right now, could you be a wanderer? Do certain experiences resonate with you more deeply than others? That feeling of not quite belonging, or maybe a deep desire to make a positive impact on the world, it's something to consider, isn't it?
And it really speaks to the law of one's emphasis on personal exploration and discernment. It's not about blindly accepting information, but rather engaging with it critically and seeing how it resonates with your own personal experiences and intuition.
Exactly. It's about finding your own truth. Okay, so we've been talking about chakras and wanderers and this idea of a higher purpose, but we haven't really explained what the law of one actually is.
Right.
I mean, it sounds pretty profound.
It's essentially the idea that everything in the universe is interconnected, that we're all part of the same fundamental energy, the same source. It's about recognizing the unity in all things, the oneness that underlies all of creation.
Okay, but if everything is truly one, why is there so much division and conflict in the world? Why is there so much suffering? I mean, if we're all connected, shouldn't things be more, well, harmonious?
That's where the concept of free will comes in. Ra describes free will as, well, a primary distortion of the law of one, a necessary tool for our evolution. You see, free will allows us to make choices, to explore different paths, and to ultimately learn and grow through experience. But it also creates the potential for imbalance, for separation from that fundamental unity.
So are you saying that free will is both a blessing and a curse? It gives us the power to create, but it also gives us the power to, well, to kind of mess things up.
It's more nuanced than that. It's about understanding that we have a choice. We can choose to act in alignment with the law of one, to express love and service to others. Or we can choose to act in service to self, pursuing personal gain at the expense of others. And both of these choices, they have consequences. They shape the reality we experience, both individually and collectively. And it's those choices, those expressions of free will that contribute to this huge tapestry of evolution that the law of one describes. It's not just about our individual choices, it's about the collective consciousness of all of humanity and its journey through what Ra calls densities.
Okay, wait. Densities, that sounds a little, I don't know, like something out of Star Trek. What are we talking about here?
Imagine the universe as this, well, this sort of grand school with different levels, like grades. These levels, these densities represent different stages of spiritual evolution. And each one comes with its own unique set of lessons and challenges.
So where do humans fit into this cosmic school system? What grade are we in?
According to the law of one, we're currently in third density.
Third density.
A realm where, well, we grapple with concepts like self-awareness, free will, and the duality of love and fear. It's
Yeah.
about learning to make choices and then understanding the consequences of those choices.
So we're kind of like the middle schoolers of the cosmos, figuring out who we are and what we stand for.
That's a great analogy. And just like in any school, eventually there's graduation. According to Ra, Earth is actually on the verge of transitioning into fourth density.
Fifth density.
A realm where love and understanding become the dominant forces. Think greater harmony, greater compassion, where we start to see the interconnectedness of all things much more clearly.
Okay, that sounds pretty amazing. But I have to ask, does this transition mean we have to, leave our physical bodies behind? Does it feel like dying?
Not in the way we typically think of death, no. Think of it more like a shift in consciousness, an expansion of awareness. It's like shedding an old skin and allowing a more evolved version of ourselves to emerge.
So fourth density is like leveling up our consciousness,
That's
becoming more
fun.
compassionate and more connected. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Haha, I hear you. But while it does sound appealing, this transition isn't necessarily a cakewalk. You see, each density has its own set of challenges, and as Ra describes it, our planet is experiencing a bit of a bottleneck right now in this whole process.
A bottleneck.
Oh, yeah.
What's holding us back from, graduating to this higher level of being?
Well, Ra suggests it has to do with the mixed levels of spiritual evolution we have here on Earth. You see, there are those who are ready to harvest into fourth density,
Okay.
those who are focused on service to others and really embodying love and compassion. But on the other hand, there are also those who are, well, they're still clinging to those third density patterns,
Mhm.
self-service, fear, separation, those kinds of things.
So this harvest, this transition to fourth density, it's not just going to happen automatically. We have to, I don't know, kind of earn our way there.
In a sense, yes. It really comes down to the choices we make, the energy we embody. And it's not just about individual evolution, it's about the collective consciousness of humanity as a whole.
Mm.
The more we align ourselves with the law of one, the more we contribute to raising the overall vibration of the planet, which makes the transition, well, a little bit smoother for everyone.
It makes you realize that our choices, they really have this ripple effect, don't they? I mean, it's not just our own lives that are affected. It's the entire planet and the evolution of consciousness itself. It's a lot of responsibility but it's also incredibly empowering when you think about it.
And that responsibility ties directly into the law of one's emphasis on service to others. It's a concept that we often misunderstand, thinking of it as some sort of obligation or chore we have to do.
Right, like we have to go out and do all these good deeds to, I don't know, earn brownie points in some cosmic system or something. But the law of one seems to be saying something a lot deeper than that.
Right. It's not just about doing good deeds for the sake of doing them. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, seeing the divine spark in every being we encounter. It's about shifting our perspective from separation to unity, really understanding that we're all part of this same, I don't know, the same web of life.
So it's less about doing and more about being. Like, if we truly embody the law of one, service to others becomes this natural expression of who we are. It's not something we force, it just flows.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about recognizing that we're not just these isolated individuals striving for personal gain. It's about understanding that, well, we're all connected, we're all part of something much larger than ourselves. And from that place of unity, service becomes an act of love, a way of expressing our inherent interconnectedness.
I love how the law of one takes these, abstract spiritual concepts and brings them back down to our everyday experience. Like, how does all this talk about densities and service actually connect to, this idea of the human body being a vessel for spiritual growth?
That's where those energy centers we talked about earlier, the chakras, come back into play. Remember how we discussed that blockages in those centers can lead to, well, all sorts of physical and emotional imbalances?
Oh, yeah, those spinning wheels of energy that can get all out of whack and cause all kinds of trouble.
Well, the law of one suggests that those chakras are more than just physical or emotional regulators. They're also pathways for spiritual energy, connecting us to a larger energy field, a universal source of consciousness.
Wait, so when our energy centers are balanced, when they're flowing freely,
Mhm.
we're actually more receptive to spiritual insights and guidance. It's like we're tapping into some kind of cosmic Wi-Fi.
You got it. It's like tuning a radio to receive a clear signal. The more aligned we are energetically, the more clearly we can perceive the wisdom and love that, well, that's always available to us. It's always there.
Okay, that makes so much sense. It's like our bodies are designed to be these incredible antennas picking up signals from the universe. But what about those times when things aren't so balanced?
Yeah.
When we're dealing with illness, pain, emotional turmoil, all that stuff. Does the law of one have anything to offer in those situations?
Well, the law of one offers a unique perspective on healing. It suggests that it's not just about treating the symptoms, it's about understanding the underlying causes of disease. And those causes, well, they often stem from energetic imbalances or blockages in those very energy centers we've been talking about.
So it's not about masking the problem, but actually getting to the root of what's causing it,
Yeah.
addressing the energy behind the illness.
Precisely. And Ross suggests that practices like meditation, energy work, even the use of certain crystals can help restore balance and facilitate healing by working directly with those energetic pathways.
Crystals. Wait, are we talking about the kind of crystals people wear for good luck? Or, put around their homes for good vibes?
The very same. But the law of one takes it a step further, suggesting that crystals can act as, well, as amplifiers and conductors of energy. They can actually help direct healing energy to specific areas of the body.
Okay, that's fascinating. So you're saying we can actually use crystals to help clear those energy blockages and promote healing? It almost sounds too good to be true.
It's important to approach these ideas with an open mind, but also with discernment. Crystals aren't magic bullets or anything like that, but the law of one suggests that they can be powerful tools to support our own innate healing process. They can help us work with those subtle energies within our bodies.
I love how the law of one encourages us to take this holistic approach to health and well-being, recognizing that we're not just physical beings, but also energetic beings. And it makes you wonder, if we can use crystals to influence energy flow in our bodies, does that mean we can use our minds to do the same thing?
That's a great question. And it leads us to one of the most profound and potentially challenging aspects of the law of one, the power of thought.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the law of one and how it can, help us unlock those hidden secrets of our bodies. And I got to say, my mind is still kind of reeling from all this talk about chakras and densities and, the power of thought to shape reality. It's a lot.
It definitely is a lot to process, and it's totally okay to feel a little overwhelmed. Remember, this is a journey of exploration, and not a race to the finish line. Take your time with it.
That's good to hear. But speaking of finish lines, I have to ask about this concept of the harvest and Earth's transition into fourth density. If it's all based on vibrational alignment, does that mean there's some kind of passing grade we need to reach, like a cosmic GPA or something?
Ra doesn't quite frame it like that, but they do suggest that there's a certain threshold of understanding and compassion that we need to embody to, transition smoothly into fourth density. But it's not about checking boxes or accumulating good deeds. It's more about a fundamental shift in our way of being. It's about who we are at our core.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually measure that? How do we know if we're, on the right track or not?
It's less about measuring, I think, and more about feeling. It's about cultivating a kind of inner knowing.
Hmm.
It's really about the quality of our being, the overall vibrational frequency that we radiate out into the world. And that frequency is influenced by, well, by a lot of things.
Mm.
Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, even our intentions.
So it's not just about what we do, but why we do it. Our intentions actually matter in all of this.
Absolutely. The law of one really emphasizes that every choice we make, every single thought we think, every action we take carries a certain vibrational energy. And those energies, they have a ripple effect. They influence not only our own personal reality, but also the collective consciousness. We're all connected, remember?
It's like that butterfly effect, right? Where one seemingly small action can have this huge cascading impact on everything around it.
Exactly. And when we act from a place of love, compassion, and, service to others, we're contributing to this more harmonious and balanced energy field.
Yeah.
And that, in turn, helps elevate the collective vibration and, well, it can make this transition into fourth density a little bit smoother for everyone.
I see, I see. Okay, yeah,
Mm.
I'm starting to see how it all fits together. But let's be realistic for a second. Not everyone is going to be on board with this whole love and light thing, right? I mean, there are going to people who, resist change, who cling to old patterns of fear and separation. What happens to those folks during this harvest?
That's where the concept of polarity comes in. Remember how we talked about free will being a fundamental principle of the law of one?
Hmm.
Well, each individual has the right to choose their own path, to align with either service to others or, service to self. It's their choice.
So are those who choose the path of service to self, the ones who maybe aren't as focused on love and compassion, are they like doomed to be left behind in third density?
It's not about being left behind or punished or anything like that. Ray explains that there are actually paths of evolution for both polarities. It's not about judging one as, better or worse than the other. It's about recognizing that both polarities, they contribute to the overall learning and growth of creation. We need both.
So even the so-called bad guys, the ones who are focused on, power and control and all that, they're actually playing a role in this whole cosmic drama.
In a way, yes. You see, they offer a contrasting energy, a kind of catalyst for growth. Think of it like the yin and yang symbol. Both forces are necessary for balance.
Okay, I think I'm starting to grasp the bigger picture here, but it's still pretty mind-boggling to think about. If we're all truly interconnected and our thoughts and actions have this profound impact on, our reality and the collective consciousness, does that mean we have like a responsibility to be more, I don't know, more conscious, more intentional in the choices we make?
The law of one would definitely suggest that. It's about recognizing that we're not just passive observers in this grand experiment called life. We're active participants. And the more we align ourselves with those principles of love, compassion, and unity, the more we contribute to creating a future that, well, that reflects those values. That's the kind of world we want to build.
So it's not just about living our lives, it's about actively shaping the destiny of humanity and the planet. Wow, no pressure, right?
It's a huge responsibility, that's for sure, but it's also a privilege. To think that we actually have the power through our choices, our thoughts, our actions to contribute to a more loving and harmonious world, well, that's pretty remarkable, don't you think?
It really is. It's a lot to take in, that's for sure. Well, this whole deep dive has been quite the adventure. We've explored the mysteries of the human body, delved into the nature of reality, and grappled with this idea of the power of thought to influence our individual and collective experiences. It's been a wild ride, but the law of one, it really offers a unique and empowering perspective on our place in the universe.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired.
And remember, it's not about blindly accepting everything we've discussed here today. It's about taking this information and, seeing how it resonates with you, how it fits into your own understanding of the world. It's about continuing to explore, to question, and to, ultimately connect with your own inner wisdom. That's where the real magic happens.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this. It's not about finding all the answers. It's about opening ourselves up to new possibilities, new ways of seeing ourselves and, well, the world around us. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all interconnected, all part of this grand cosmic dance of evolution. And by embracing those principles of love, compassion, and unity, we can create a more harmonious and fulfilling experience, for ourselves and for all beings.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible exploration of the Law of One and the hidden secrets of your body. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep an open heart. The universe, it's full of wonders just waiting to be discovered.